the sustainability of plastic waste in Africa is something we should all be concerned about. Plastic is a solution, even some technologies use it, but plastic is also a problem. This is exactly what an eco-conscious organization, Amet Solutions, hosted a webinar around. I'll leave a link to this webinar in the episode show notes on the podcast player. Now, this webinar focused on 3 key areas. Number 1, how can plastic waste bans be adapted and enforced? 2, which alternative strategies can be employed in plastic waste management? And 3, how do citizens adapt to plastic waste policies at the local levels? Now, before I go into some interesting facts I took away from the webinar, here's my perspectives on plastic waste management in Ghana so far. So, on the commercial public level, this is still in transition to becoming better. Now, one thing that sums this all up is driving around the Kolebu area in Accra in late 2021, early 2022. And you would see a huge lagoon and a huge dump of refuse out in the open. Now, as you drive around that area, you'll also see that there is a good amount of pollution in the water body, and the entire area absolutely stinks. Even your car can pick up the smells from outside. Now, if you are going past a gutter in Accra and you thought that smelled really bad, now going past this dump absolutely reeks, I must admit. However, there are some positives that I am starting to see in Accra. I guess recycling is becoming a bit more of an industry. I'm starting to see a few more refuse bins around town. For example, outside of the malls, it's good to see a few extra of them around, I must admit. Now, in terms of residential plastic waste management, in my eyes, from what I've seen, I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, it's not very good. For instance, at my place in Accra, I have a refuse collector that comes to collect the rubbish. So they will drive up to your place, and then of course they'll knock on your gate, and of course you just open up the gate and you let them come and take out the bins. But the thing is, the bins, in terms of the bins, the plastic is mixed with the non-recyclables, and so every time they come, this hurts me because I'm really into recycling. So when there isn't a option for them to come and pick up a recycling bin, but just the one bin, one big bin for them to take and chuck into the lorry, and then they drive off to take it to wherever they take it to, it sucks because there's a lot of opportunities for recycling, be it plastic and even glass, to be frank. So that isn't that great. Now, to cap off this episode, here are some interesting stats regarding plastic waste management. Now, the multiplication of the production of plastic has not been sustainable. So, for instance, in 1950, the world overall was producing around 2 million tons per year. And in 2015, fast forward, we're talking maybe a good 60 to 75 years later. That's how many generations. This went up to 381 million tons per year. So that's a 200% increase. 55% of the plastic produced are discarded. 25% of all of that is set on fire or incarcerated, and the remaining 20% is actually recycled. This is a tragedy, and there is no coincidence that we are starting to see a lot more climate change push, and eco-friendly cars, and more recyclable goods being resold in the markets, more green focused deals, like the World Economic Forum and things like that. So it's quite interesting. So rivers, oceans, atmosphere, food, you name it. I mean, we are surrounded by toxins, and we do need to do something about this. Yes, in the West, there's recycling banks, and there's recycling people that come and pick up your recycling bins and things like that. But we all still need to play our part and do a lot more in terms of recycling, especially in Africa. Now, in recent years, nations have been looking at more sustainable ways of living and how to save our planet from the dangers of human activity. But we are still in this predicament, guys. So look, I'm going to end it here. So how do you see plastic waste management in the 2020s? Are we in danger, or are we going to find ways to recycle even the most non-plastic of rubbish? And how are we going to overcome this tragedy? How are we going to overcome it? A big special thanks to David Owusi Mensah, who is the podcast host at Green Living Chats, for the inspiration behind this content. I'll also leave a link to his podcast in the episode player so you can check it out. All right. Well, let us know your thoughts. Send us a tweet on Twitter at The Sound of Accra, or get in touch on Instagram, also at The Sound of Accra. Kindly leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I said Spotify on Spotify. Maybe I should check if Spotify is available as a domain on GoDaddy. How about that? Just to annoy them. But yeah, look, listen, if you like to watch podcasts or watch YouTube videos, we do have a YouTube channel where you can actually watch us doing episodes. So feel free to head over to our YouTube channel. We have a nice URL, so you don't have to, search for us. You just head over to youtube.com/The Sound of Accra podcast, and you'll be able to access our YouTube channel directly from that URL. Otherwise, you can go on YouTube and search The Sound of Accra, and we will come up as well. Well, if you've listened to the end of this episode, you've been incredible. I've been Adrian Daniels, and until next time, let's save the world. Peace.